Shri Gaura Karana Shakti Bhakti Dhira. Om Vishnu Pade Krishna Pisaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Chinamne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaura Vani Pucharani Meri Visesa Sunya Bhadi Pasta Kyade Satarini Om Magyana Timirandasya Jnanam Jana Salapari Yakshulun Malichandjana Taismi Sri Gurave Namaha Chaitanya Mano Vistam Sadichandjena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamajam Vidati Swapadam Tikam Pandeham Sri Gurun Sri Paparakalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahaguna Lita Sri Visasamritam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinadambo Jagatpati Gopisa Gopikakantarat Kantanamasuti Taptakanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrisavana Siti Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakal Tapayo Jascha Upasan Vijay Vacha Patitanam Pavnivyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna Bhagavad Gita is Jai Srila Prabhupada Jai. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, we are very happy to be with all of you. And we are looking at Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, Transcendental Knowledge. And today we continue from different types of sacrifices. In particular, text 27 onward. 27. Sarvanendriya Karamani Dana Karamani Kapari Atma Samyama Yoga No Yuvati Gyan Dipite Sarvanindriya Karamani Dana Karamani Kapari Atma Samyama Yoga No Yuvati Jivana Jnana Dipite Sarava Indriya Karmani Prana Karmani Chapari Atma Samyama Yogagno Yuvati Jnana Dipite. Sarvani of all, Indriya, the senses, Karmani functions, Prana Karmani functions of the life breath, Cha also, Apare others, Atma Samyama of controlling the mind, Yoga, a linking process, Agno in the fire, Jiwati offer, Jnana Dipite because of the urge for self-realization. Translation and purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Dhira Damodara Swami. Others who are interested in achieving self-realization through control of the mind senses offer the functions of all the senses and of the life breath as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind. This is yoga. And proper explained in the purport. The yoga system conceived by Patanjali is referred to herein. Yeah. It is an oblation, it's a sacrifice. The sacrifice of controlling the mind through the breathing exercise. In the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, the soul is called Pratyag-atma and Parag-atma. As long as the soul is attached to sense enjoyment, it is called Parag-atma. But as soon as the same soul becomes detached from such sense enjoyment, it is called Pratyag-atma. The soul is subjected to the functions of 10 kinds of air at work within the body. And this is perceived through the breathing system. The Patanjali system of yoga instructs one on how to control the functions of the body's air in the technical manner so that ultimately the functions of the air wouldn't become favorable for purifying the soul of material attachment. According to this yoga system, Pratyag-atma is the ultimate goal. This Pratyag-atma is withdrawn from activities in matter. The senses interact with the sense object, like the ear for hearing, eyes for seeing, nose for smelling, tongue for tasting, the hand for touching, and all of them are thus engaged in activities outside the self. They are called the functions of the prana vayu. The apana vayu goes downwards. Dhyana vayu acts to shrink and expand. Samana vayu adjusts equilibrium. Udana vayu goes upwards. And when one is enlightened, one engages all this in searching for self-realization. So, in our body, the body which we carry, these 10 airs are circulating. The 10 airs which I mentioned, they are circulating within the body. All material bodies have these 10 airs. 5 of them are major and 5 are minor. Means 5 are more gross and 5 are more subtle. More subtle than, generally we don't see the air. We don't see the air, but we can feel it. Patanjali instruction is a training how to control this life airs that become favorable for our Krishna consciousness. And we can imagine the wonderful service our charities have done. The wonderful service our charities have done. What have they done? The kirtan which we are performing, we are having kirtan every day in our temple. The kirtan which we are performing in the temple, automatically and perfectly, even without our knowledge, adjust the air which is necessary to be allowed to circulate in the body. When you have the kirtan, you see that we have done automatic breathing exercise, automatic breathing exercise. Even if you sit down in the kirtan and give attention to the kirtan and you are moving the body, you are automatically performing yoga. But this yoga, it is the highest form of yoga. When we say the highest form, it look like Christian consciousness is just full of false ego. You always claim to be the best, claim to be the top. But it is not just claiming to be the top that is the issue. The main thing is that we are actually doing the best thing. Instead of going to the forest to go and learn how to do this Patanjali system of yoga, first of all, we don't have the qualification in yoga. Our bodily system is very, very different. The way we are eating is very, very difficult to have a body that will be suitable to practicing yoga. The way we are eating. And our eating system is not wonderful. First of all, we don't chew the food properly. That is the first problem. We never chew the food properly before swallowing. It has effect. We don't also drink with the peace. Everything is done with passion. It's finished. The same way we eat. So in many ways, we cannot do the yoga Patanjali recommended, but we can perfectly and peacefully do it in Christian consciousness by having kirtan. It's so wonderful. Very wonderful. The same way, the Pratyag Atma means what? That the senses, as Dr. mentioned, Vyana Vayu act to shrink and expand. Samana you adjusts equilibrium, goes upward. And when one is enlightened, one engages all this in searching for self-realization. All are engaged in search for self-realization. We are already doing that in Christian consciousness. When are looking at the deities, with appreciation, with love. We look at the deities, when we hear attentively, when we chant the holy name with the full concentration, trying to find the shelter of the holy name. When we attentively and mindfully honor the prasadam, these things are perfectly taken care of. Perfectly taken care of in Christian consciousness. So our acharyas are doing heavy job for us. When we look at the deity, what are we doing? We are withdrawing the external senses which attracted the object. We are withdrawing that simply by looking at the deity with appreciation, with love. We are withdrawing the senses from its attraction to different objects inside. So it's a perfect yoga system. In the third canto Bhagavatam, Kapil Muni explained this 10 airs that I mentioned here. In the third canto, chapter 3, text 6 to 9. Canto 3, chapter 6, text 9. 36:9. Kapil Muni explained this air. Sajadamasi Sadvidaivacha Sadibhutai Kitridha Yadanu Tasavida Ekada Hridayenacha. The gigantic universal form is represented by 3, 10, and 1. In the sense that he is a body and a mind and the senses.
He is the dynamic force for all movement by 10 kinds of life energy. And he is the one heart where life energy is generated. The Prophet explained in the purpose. The movement of the body are first generated from the heart. The movement of the body are first generated from the heart. Meaning what? That is the center for the soul. That is the center. And all the airs, of the air, we say the life air, also begins from here and spread all over the body. And all the activities of the body are made possible by the senses. If the soul is out, the senses will stop functioning, including the air, except the air that goes with the soul. The 10 kinds of air are described as follows. The main air passing through the nose in breathing is called prana. That is the life air, prana, prananath. Prananath. It's another name for Krishna, prananath. It's the life air. So this is the air that goes with the soul, as you listen. Prananath. So this is the first one. The air which passes through the rectum as evacuated bodily air is called apana. The air which adjusts the foodstuff within the stomach and which sometimes sounds as belching is called samana. The air which passes through the throat and the stoppage of which constitutes suffocation is called the udana air. And the total air which circulates throughout the entire body is called the dhyana air. So subtler than these 5 airs, there are others also. That which facilitates the opening of the eyes, mouth, etc. is called naga air. The air which increases appetite is called krikara air. The air which helps contraction is called kulma air. The air which helps relaxation by opening the mouth wide in yawning is called Devadatta air. And the air which helps sustenance is called Dhananjaya air. So these are the 10 kinds of airs. 5 are inside, 5 are outside. And because of this, one who knows the science, the yogis who are practicing this, they can connect the air inside with the air outside, and that will create fire. It will create fire. The yogi can burn the body into acid water using matches or naked fire. Just by practicing this, we don't have to practice all that. We are automatically doing it through the practice of Bhakti Yoga, which is the complete system of yoga. Because this yoga, it is based on developing a pure love, a pure feeling for Krishna. Therefore, it is a complete system of yoga. So all these airs are generated from the center of the heart, which is one only, meaning that the soul is one, the heart is one. That is the meaning. This central energy is superior energy of the Lord, who is seated within the heart with the soul of the body, who acts under the guidance of the Lord. So Patanjali explained this. So a yogi sacrifices this by withdrawing all the senses inside. We're doing that by thinking of Krishna. not just looking at the super soul or a very mundane background, but just to think of Krishna. It's a sacrifice to think of Krishna. And Krishna recommended that, Manmana, just think of me, just give me your heart. If you will give our heart to Lord Krishna, we are automatically a perfect bhakti yogi. So it is complete form of yoga. Now we look at 28. Page 28. Here Krishna mentions 4 types of jagyas, 4 types of sacrifices, 4 types. Dravya jagya, tapo jagya, yoga jagya, tattva pare, swadhyaya jagya, jagyascha, yataya samsita gata. So there are 4 types here. Dravya jagya, tapo jagya, yoga jagya, and swadhyaya jagya. Swadhyaya jagya. Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya. Sacrifice in the study of the Vedas. That is to study Vedas. Just like we're doing, this is the sacrifice. We are studying the Veda, the Bhagavad Gita. This is sacrifice. Why is it a sacrifice? Because this time we're supposed to use it for sense gratification. We're supposed to use our ears to hear mundane things, to hear nonsense things, to hear things which are very, very dangerous that will keep the soul in this material world. Now we are sacrificing that in hearing the scripture. Therefore, it's a sacrifice. And then Dravya Jagya, sacrificing one's positions. Tapa Jagya, sacrifice in austerity. Austerity. Austerity, we are controlling our tongue. We're not using the tongue for vibrating nonsense sound, contaminating sound. We're not vibrating contaminated sound. By using the tongue to chant Hare Krishna mantra, to describe the Krishna, to explain how to serve the Krishna, is Jagya, it's a sacrifice. Yoga Jagya, sacrifice in eightfold mysticism. Practicing mystic yoga, Asanga yoga. You can do Asanga yoga. Very, very difficult for this. Asanga yoga. So, having accepted strict vows, some become enlightened by sacrificing their possessions, and others by performing severe austerities, by practicing yoga of eightfold mysticism, and by studying the Vedas to advance in transcendental. So 4 types of jagya or sacrifice is mentioned in this text 28. And so the prophet described all these sacrifices elevate the participants. Yet the pure Krishna consciousness is far above these jagyas, as the prophet remind us. In the purport. Here, Prophet speaking. These processes entail severe vows for controlling life under certain rigid rules. For example, under the Chaturmasya vow, the candidate does not serve for 4 months during the year, July to October, for he does not eat certain food, does not eat twice in a day, or does not leave home.
The Bhakti Dhira Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada did. Radha Kund, he did. No shaving, no cutting of fingernails for months. Yeah. And he will cook only khichdi. Only khichdi. No salt, no spices. How tasty would that be? How tasty? Tasty. Khichdi is no spice, is no salt inside. Yeah? How tasty. It must be very, very tasty, very succulent. But for yogi, it is tasty. For one who not is yogi, it's unbelievable that one can eat that. It's unbelievable. And then Srila Bhakti Dhira Saraswati Thakur would not even use the hand or spoon. It's not too much already. It's not too much already. There's no spice, there's no salt. Now he don't even use the hand to eat, no spoon. He has to use his mouth. No plate. He doesn't also put it in the plate. He put it on the floor. After cooking, he just pour it on the ground. And then he will use his mouth and tie his hands, the two hands at the back, and bend down. In that way, he will eat with his mouth. Not that he will take some and sit up and eat. No, he remained there eating. He remained there, and when he get tired, because he's having waist pain, when he get tired, that is it for the day, until the next day, for 3 months. So that will be very, very difficult for most people. 4 months. Just to wake up early in the morning, at 2 o'clock to chant Hare Krishna, many devotees complain. One devotee says, "Oh, you become mad. If you do this, become mad." You're really thinking of that. I have to sleep. Just to wake up by 2 o'clock, it's already a problem. And then you are going to take this kind of a food for 3 months. Very difficult. And that is for some devotees. For the yogis who are actually engaging themselves in this kind of sanga, not only for 4 months, they are going to do this for life, or they are going to do this until they get the profession to transfer their soul to higher planets. So you can imagine how long that will take. It takes some time. So it's a big austerity. And as we have said before, that is very, very difficult. But Srila Prabhupada has made it very, very simple. We'll never find any spiritual organization that eats like Hare Krishna. When you took a spiritual organization, worshiping God, the next thing that comes to mind is austerity. It's austerity. But in Christian consciousness, our austerity is to eat. What he told me last Kartik, one day he told me, Maharaj, do you know my vow? I took a vow for this Kartik. I took vow. I said, yeah, Prabhu, you can tell me the vow you are taking, since you want to tell me. Yeah, you can tell me, no problem. You see, Maharaj, I took vow that every day I must take Mahaprasad. That is austerity, to take Mahaprasad. Yes, it's austerity for her Krishna devotee. But by doing this, our advancement will be very, very slow.
very slow. Our advancement will be very, very slow. By doing this, our advancement will be very, very slow. Our advancement will not be very fast. It will be very, very slow. Because already we have a very dull mind, very dull senses. They are attracted to the sense gratification. Yeah, so even though it is Krishna Prasada, it should be honored. At the time Mahaprabhu was teaching, he was feeding devotees in Jagannath. The Prophet was also emphasizing, take prasada, take prasada, take prasada. By taking prasada, we get purified. Get purified. So we take prasada and we get purified. Well, let me tell you the truth. Let me tell you the truth. You should know the truth. Prabhupada emphasized taking prasada. That time Prabhupada was cooking the prasada himself. It is different from what we are cooking today. There's difference. There is heaven and hell difference between what Prabhupada was cooking and giving us. What we are cooking now? Many people are cooking, talking for the jalpa. And most of the time in big temples, they are getting hired cooks, professional cooks to come and cook. They are not devotees. They may be devotees, but some are not devotees. All festival foods are like hired cooks who does not keep principles. So the waiting that is the same that the Prasadam Papa was cooking and giving us, and it's encouraging, take Prasadam, take Prasadam, take Prasadam. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is taking Prasadam on the house of Goridas Pandit. And he said, anyone who takes this Prasadam will surely be able to love God. You understand that Prasadam? Is it the same way what we are taking? That prasadam is also austerity itself. So by taking that prasadam, austerity will get purified. For taking festival prasadam, it is not austerity. It is not austerity. It is sense gratification. Our sense will be agitated. So we can be externally big devotees, but our bhakti is not as big as we think we are. We can also speak big philosophy. But the proof is that our big philosophy without purity will entertain people's intelligence, but it will not have the purity to purify the heart. So Srila Guru Kishore Babaji Maharaj, he chastised one of them, his servant. You took a festival prasadam. The person who sponsored this prasadam has a questionable character, and you have taken that prasadam. He did not talk to the servant for 4 days. He's an acharya, he's a Mahabhagavad. He's very careful about what he eats. That's austerity. He look at the person or the people who are cooking. He look at the consciousness. Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Madhya Lila chapter 12, cleansing the Gunjita temple. Towards the end part of the chapter, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned that a sannyasi can eat any food. But still, yes, a sannyasi can eat any food. A householder should not eat all kinds of food, but a sannyasi can eat any food. But that is a sannyasi. And when we say sannyasi, what we're looking at, not just a sannyasi we're dressing, a sannyasi in a proper sense of it. That kind of a sannyasi, say pure sannyasi. So a pure sannyasi is pure. It's pure. Therefore, for him there is nothing like boga. Whatever is there as contamination can become purified if the sannyasi takes it.
I remember once the Prophet had visited with a well-wisher, not a devotee, a well-wisher in India. It's a well-wisher. And he went with devotees. He did not know the principle, so he cooked prasadam with onions. And devotees saw that. When the prasadam was served, devotees saw it. Yeah, this is full of onions. This is onion. So they said, oh, this is onion. So Prabhupada ate it and said, where's the onion? So where's the onion? Says, this is the sannyasi we are talking about. He can do that. And he did it for preaching. He did it because this man would be embarrassed. He didn't know it was just the beginning. So he did it, properly to encourage him. But it's not something that we do every day. It's not something that you do regularly. And it was done by a perfect devotee. So it's different. So in this way, they are perfect example to show us everything that are very intricate in our system. We have to be very careful in understanding what is being said, what is being done, what the scripture is discussing. Then we can make an advancement. So austerity as a sacrifice. There are still others who engage themselves in different kinds of mystic yoga, like the Patanjali system, for merging into the existence of the absolute, or for Hatha yoga, or Asanga yoga, for particular perfections. Anyone, and some travel to all the sanctified places of pilgrimage. Yeah, this one we do. This one we do, visit all holy places. It is sacrifice. Visiting holy places is a sacrifice. Why? It purifies, because Lord Krishna and his pure devotees have performed wonderful activities, spiritual, divine activities in these places. So visiting these places and hearing these activities in such places by a self-realized shows there is purification. So it is jagya, it's austerity. Sincerity, it's sacrifice. And it's encouraged that we must visit holy places. When the scripture and the sadhus are advising we should visit holy places, they are not advising us just to visit holy places. They are advising you to visit holy places because at that time, some of these places, the pure devotees, they live there or they visit those places. So when we visit these places, we have the opportunity to meet them and hear Krishna Katha from them. But today we have pure devotees in our system that we can organize to visit these places with an experienced devotee who will take us on tour to visit all these places. If we have nowadays parikrama, so many devotees come from all over the world. And different devotees, senior devotees, are speaking, giving their association, giving their realizations to devotees who comes. So it is jagya, and it should be done. We should arrange ourselves to do this kind of jagya every year. Even these days that we have restrictions on traveling because of the pandemic situation, the COVID-19 situation, which is disturbing. They are also parikrama on the Zoom, which is also something. It is something. It is something. It is something because at least we are reminded. We can see the picture of the places, so we are reminded. We see it also together with other. But this simplification is there. Simplification is there. So we should do that. As properly recommended, we should mold our life in such a way that we remain 24 hours Christian conscious. This is part of the arrangement. Molding our life in such a way that we remain 24 hours Christian conscious. So challenges is here. We should find solution to control our Christian consciousness.
That is Krishna consciousness. In other words, let us practice using every situation in our life to advance our Krishna consciousness. That is Bhakti Yoga. That is sacrifice. It is jagya that should be done. All these practices are called yoga, jagya, sacrifice for a certain type of perfection in the material world. They are others who engage themselves in the studies of different Vedic literatures, specifically the Upanishads and Vedanta Sutras, or the Sankhya philosophy. All of these are called Swadhyaya Jagya, or engagement in the sacrifice of studies. All these yogis are faithfully engaged in different types of sacrifice and are seeking higher status of life. Krishna consciousness, this is the conclusion. This is the conclusion. Krishna consciousness, however, is different from this because it is the direct service of the Supreme Lord. Krishna consciousness cannot be attained by any one of the above mentioned types of sacrifice, but it can be attained only by the mercy of the Lord and his bona fide devotees. Therefore, Krishna consciousness is transcendental. This is transcendental. Krishna consciousness can be attained only by the mercy of the Lord and his bona fide devotees. Now, how do we do that? We just sit down and just come and give it to us? No, we have to follow. We have to follow certain discipline, have to practice certain disciplines. Then they will be very happy to bestow the blessings that will become Krishna conscious. Now we have the next one, 29. Apane juhati pranam, prana panam tatha pare, pana pana gati rupa, pana yama parayana. Apare niyata hara, panan panasu juhati. Still others who are inclined to the process of breath restraint, to remain in trance, practice the offering by offering a movement of the outgoing breath into the incoming, and the incoming breath into the outgoing, and those at last remain in trance, stopping all breathing. Others, curtailing the eating process, offer the outgoing breath into itself as a sacrifice. Yes. So, proper mention here. A Krishna conscious person, however, being always situated in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, automatically becomes the controller of the senses. His senses, being always engaged in the service of Krishna, have no chance of becoming otherwise engaged. So at the end of life, he is naturally transferred to the transcendental plane of Krishna. Consequently, he makes no attempt to increase his longevity. He is at once raised to the platform of liberation, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 14:26. Amchayu Abhyavicharena Bhakti Yoga Sevati. Saguna and Samita Daitam Bhagavad. One who engages in unalloyed devotion and service to the Lord transcends the mode of material nature and is immediately elevated to the spiritual platform. The Krishna conscious person begins from the transcendental stage, and he is constantly in that consciousness.
Therefore, there is no falling down. And ultimately, it enters into the abode of the Lord without delay. The practice of reduced eating is automatically done when one eats only Krishna prasada, or food which is offered first to the Lord. Reducing the eating process is very helpful in the matter of sense control. And without sense control, there is no possibility of getting out of the material entanglement. That is the conclusion. Reducing our eating process is very helpful in the matter of sense control. Very, very helpful. Very helpful. And proper added. And without sense control, there is no possibility of getting out of the material. How? How are we going to get out? We will get out only if there is a control. And the whole system of Krishna consciousness, which is the best system of yoga, as you mentioned before, it should control the senses. It should control the senses. Everything is control. Taking on the Krishna prasada is controlling the senses. That we are looking at the deities, meditating on the deities, meditating on the activities, our devotional activities, meditating on Krishna's pastimes, the Krishna's holy name, is all austerity. All of them are sacrifices, are very, very purifying, and they're meditation. And by doing this, one is on the transcendental platform. There's no question of falling down. There's no question of falling down. One will fall up, not down. Will fall up. The Krishna consciousness is the process of falling up. Go, stay high forever. Yes, stay high forever. Not coming down, always going up. Om Vishnu Tat Paramam Padam. That is a part of bhakti, going upwards, always. All right, Hare Krishna. We have a few minutes for questions. Any comments or questions?
Hare Krishna. If anyone is having questions, they can raise their hand or can type in the chat box. Thank you. I think we have Sanjay Prabhuji. Yeah.
All right.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I have one question about you're speaking about pranayama exercises.
Yes.
Which is that I know some people who become interested in Krishna consciousness, or even people who are even initiated devotees, and they become attached to pranayama exercises. So is it natural for some to have that as a support or as some kind of bridge which they naturally need, or does it mean that they don't understand the process of Krishna consciousness?
Yes, it is. It is not bad. It should be. It is not bad. It is not bad. For health purposes, it's not bad. If someone has a chance to do that, it's good. I remember 2004 in a Chopati, Sisirada Gopinath temple. Many devotees became very sick. Many, 30 devotees at once. So the management brought one yogi. We started teaching devotees in pranayama to reduce that stress in the body, so the devotee can have a good health of practice. And he taught. Of course, he didn't continue, but at least he taught some devotees. So if one have 10 minutes in a day to practice that, it is helpful. It's helpful. It will help to circulate the air properly in the body if we do that. But we should, like I mentioned before, that having kirtan, it is a very perfect way to do this pranayama. But one should not do it immediately after taking prasada. It is harmful. It's part of the thing that is affecting the devotees also. Needs after prasada, they're dancing. It is not good. It
you eat like that, it will not be a good practice. it will not be a good, it's not a good practice. So we should not do it. It should be after some time. You can have it. You should not just eat immediately and start dancing, or eat and go and dance. Take some time. You notice very carefully, see one time after taking percent, you take a nap for 10, 20 minutes. Regular. So the food gets digested before any serious activity. So it's not bad if you do pranayama 10, 20 minutes a day. It's okay. It's for health. All right?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you.
Yeah. Hare
Krishna Maharaj. Thank you very much for a nice lecture. Yeah, thank you very much. Maharaj, I have two questions. So I'll ask Maharaj, what is the, as we hear from the scripture that in Satyuga and all that, they used to perform a lot of yogas and all that, austerity and all that. So is that yoga was not transcendental?
Pardon?
I'm saying that in previous age, when there are a lot of devotee used to sacrifice and they used to do a lot of yoga to attain the Lord, because that time there is the only medium actually. So in that time it was not transcendental, as we hear in the last line of this 4.28. It's mentioned that it's saying that Lord Krishna consciousness cannot be attained by any one of the above mentioned types of sacrifice, can be attained only by the mercy of the Lord and the bona fide devotees. So that what was the challenge at that time and now and now?
Yes, people who were practicing this, you really find someone who goes back to Godhead. They will go to different planets, and they will go to Brahmaloka, and from then they will intensify their practice, and then they continue from there. The majority of people will move into Brahman. Very few will transcend that and enter into Paramatma, and eventually from there they will go back to Vaikuntha. It takes some time, which is different from the system we are following. That one can directly go to Godhead from where we are. That is why this system is better. We are most fortunate to have this system.
And just one more question, Maharaj. What is the, you mentioned all these 10 types of air, prana, apana, and all that. So is a part of the soul or is it different from the soul?
It's within the body.
Yes.
There's one which is within the soul. The prana, you mentioned that. One is within the soul. We call it life air. We say life air. That's the one that is pumping the blood into the soul, in the heart.
Right, Maharaj. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sanjay, sorry, Janan.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances. Just read Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj, I'm referring to the last verse 29, where it is mentioned, like when we reduce the eating process, it is very helpful. It is very useful in the matter of sense control.
Yes.
Now, I'm taking your example, Guru Maharaj. When you visit in Mauritius, we see that you reduce a lot of your eating habit, and in fact, you're a champion in that field, Guru Maharaj.
Huh?
So you're a champion in taking very less food. When you visit our island, we see that you eat very less. So very often, when you're fasting for a long period, then we have certain devotees that came and they beg you to eat, and still being reluctant, but finally you accept to their proposal. But now, after having known this fact, Guru Maharaj, what should be our attitude when we serve you? Should we push you to eat or?
To make advancement with neophyte devotees is very difficult.
Yes, Maharaj.
To make advancement, with neophyte devotees is difficult. Some of our services, some of our services are not services but distractions. Some are distractions. For example, this one you mentioned. Starvation is different from austerity. Starvation you don't have. So there's no alternative. So there's nothing there. So you have to go like that. The desire to eat is there, but you have nothing. So you have to take it like that. That is starvation. Austerity is different. Austerity means all the facilities are there, but you voluntarily sacrifice that because you're looking for something higher than that. It's something higher than that. That's austerity. So from our experience, no one likes to suffer. Life is to enjoy. So if someone is deciding on his own, not forced by anyone, not forced by anything, on his own, he's deciding, I want to eat less. I want to sleep less for my Krishna consciousness. Why we should force the person? It is no more service. Because the person is doing it deliberately. So we should not force the person. Especially if that is not affecting the person's service or health. If one is eating less and not doing his or her services, then it is wrong. It's not austerity. If one is eating less and is doing everything they're supposed to do to the best of his ability, that's austerity. And we should not advise the person to stop. Forcing the person, oh, does not eat my food. No, it doesn't eat my food. It doesn't like me. Likeness is not their food. Likeness, love is the heart, not the material physical things. The physical things which we use, as Larupa Goswami said, charity, giving gift to each other develop love. It is not the item which we give to somebody that is developing the love. It is what propels that gift. It's what is developing the love between the two, the giver and the receiver. What is intention? What is behind the idea giving someone a gift? What is behind that? What is the motivation? What is the main thing? The main thing is that I want to make you happy. Then the physical thing facilitates that. So that is what would make it will penetrate the heart and make you think of the person who gave you the gift. Because you will appreciate it and like it. The person's love for you is transferred by the physical object. And you feel it, you want to reciprocate. Because that is the nature of reciprocation. You cannot make someone happy and you remain miserable. It doesn't work like that. If you make someone happy, you will also be happy. If you give someone anxiety, you also feel anxiety. That is the way things function. That's the way things works. See, if you put a smile on someone's face or some people's faces, it's wonderful. You also will get smile. All right, so it is service by forcing us to eat. It is not a service, it is a distraction. better to follow what the person wants. If you follow that, the person will be happy. You also will be very happy. You should understand these simple things. And they are simple things, but still they're not simple. If you don't understand. For someone to like us, we should do what that person likes, not what we feel we're imposing on someone. All right? Does he answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Maharaj.
Oh, we have 2 questions in the chat box. Can we take them?
Yes, I think Sugade's time was up before. All right, he's not here, so can bring your question.
All right, good. So we have question by Monica Mataji, and she's saying, Hare Krishna, dear Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisances. I am struggling with this anartha and having been introspective to rectify it. So her question is, how to control uncontrollable greed of the tongue? I remember Krishna is only supreme enjoyer, but I still fail and try to enjoy the prasadam versus honoring the prasadam. Sometimes mind also think of taste of the items based on previous experience that is gathered during cooking. So please kindly guide and help.
The process of yoga or Krishna consciousness is not to give freedom to the senses. That is the process. We don't have to give freedom to the senses. Just like it is very, very dangerous for one to give a freedom to the steering. You are driving your car on the express road and you give the steering, by just steering, you are free to do what you like. What will happen is accident. That is sure. Similarly, we don't have to give freedom to our senses. Not only what yoga means, what controlling is what you think. Samyamya, controlling. That is the duty of human beings, that we have to control the senses. We shouldn't allow the senses to control us. We have to control the senses because we are superior. The soul is superior to the senses. That's the beginning of human life. When we start practicing how to control the senses, how to regulate the senses. Beginning first with taking only prasadam. We should take only Krishna prasadam. And what is Krishna prasadam? Krishna prasadam doesn't mean something which is cooked without meat, fish, or eggs, or garlic and onion. That is not prasadam. Prasadam is the food which is already offered to Krishna. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, before this time we have only rice. But now Lord Jagannath's saliva is on this rice, therefore it is not rice prasadam. Anyone who takes this they will not fill up with Krishna. That is prasadam. The Lord have tasted the food, and the remnants is prasadam. Mercy, this Krishna's mercy. The Lord left it for us. That is mercy. And Srila Bhakti Dhira Damodara said we should take this to our satisfaction, so we can control the tongue. This is sacrifice. So the tongue is telling us, eat more, eat more, eat. In the beginning of our Krishna consciousness, it is very good to eat 20%. But as we continue to grow in Krishna consciousness, the one of the signs that we are making advancement is that we will start to reduce our eating naturally. We start to reduce. And if it's not happening, we should practice it. We should practice reducing. And we should not reduce so abruptly that will affect our heart. We should reduce that. It's control. We should reduce that. Take what is necessary to keep the body fit. Should take what is necessary to keep the body fit. not necessarily overeating. No overeating. Overeating is dangerous for Christian practice. As often mentioned, it is compulsory to reduce our eating. It's compulsory to reduce our eating. So without reducing that, there's no question of advancement in percent. Making a progress. So we have to reduce it. So we should gradually reduce our eating. Not eating late in the night. Human beings should not eat beyond 5 o'clock. Wherever you are, any country you are, should not eat beyond 5 o'clock. That is what makes one a yogi. If you check with those of us who have a village life, who live with animals and have experience. Apart from a particular animal, the goat, other animal like a fowl, a hen, or the peacocks, they don't eat beyond 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, they're not to sleep. They never eat beyond. Only goats eat throughout the whole night. And they're foolish animals. So why should a human being not even follow what the animals say? Check very carefully. Check very carefully. Even those of you are keeping cows, check very carefully and see the time the cows will stop eating. See other animals, even birds, they stop eating. 6 o'clock, their mouth is closed. Then you have a good health. You have a healthy mind. So wake up early and be very, very sharp in a job. Otherwise, you have difficulty with job the next day. You have next day. Everything is very, very scientific and connected. Right? Hare Krishna. Thank you, Monica, for asking. Nice question.
We have Pragati Mataji has raised a hand. Pragati
All right.
Hare Krishna, Srila Gurudev. Thank you so much for the very powerful class. Srila Gurudev, my question is in context to the 28th verse, the last but 2 lines of the purport, where there are 2 things being mentioned. Krishna consciousness is the direct service of the Supreme Lord. And then in the later part, Prabhupada elaborates that Krishna consciousness can be attained only by the mercy of the Lord and his bona fide devotees.
Yes.
Srila Gurudev, my question is, when we are talking of direct service of the Supreme Lord, how is it different from the services that we are rendering at our stages of beginning Krishna consciousness? And is it different from direct service of the Supreme Lord? I'm not sure if I could make myself clear.
When we say devotee, we are talking about pure devotee. When we say devotee, it's pure devotee we are talking about. The same way when we say devotional service, we are talking about pure devotional service. That is the primary. That is the first part. Now, if you want to break it down, which is necessary, so you break it down. So, okay, pure devotee, pure devotional service. So what about us who are not yet pure? What happened to our service? Our services, which we do. Does it has anything with Krishna? Yes, it does have Krishna. It has connection with Krishna. Why? The services which we conditioned soul performs are offered to the spiritual master. So the spiritual master takes that and offer to Krishna. He offered to his guru and it goes like that to Krishna. That is the process. because our system is that of so it goes like that. Therefore, our services, our devotional service, practice, Rupa Goswami mentioned devotional service, the activities, devotional service, which is practice of our senses. It helps us to get the senses purified. And when the senses becomes purified, then that service also becomes purified. Now it is directly offerable to the Supreme Personality of God. Just like the spiritual master is offering directly. So our services, which are offered to the spiritual master, it goes ultimately to Krishna. And I remember His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara said, we should be a bona fide disciple is that able to offer services that he will be confident in offering that to Krishna. Because it is a service, it's not just to him. He has to offer it to his spiritual master, ultimately to Krishna. We want to see what services are being offered to him by the disciple. Does it make sense?
Yes.
So it is our responsibility as devotee disciples to check what kind of service are we offering to our Krishna, forcing him to take prasadam. When they say, no, I want to eat this little. So no, you eat. So he doesn't have sense that is prasadam you eat. He doesn't have sense. That is not how to serve. We have been told many times that if a spiritual master says, give me water, don't go and bring milk. Give him water. If you say, go and bring milk, bring the milk. If you say, give me water, bring me water. But the spiritual master is saying, give me water. We are bringing juice. We are bringing milk. No, this is better. So he doesn't know. So that will become a disservice, not service. It becomes a disservice. So we should offer something which the spiritual master will be very happy to offer that to his spiritual master. That should be our concern. We should check that. We should look at it. What am I offering to my spiritual master? Is this something that we're very happy to offer it to his spiritual master? Or I'm offering something that is really to be a disturbance and he'll be very unhappy. One day I saw an advert, a very big billboard. And only one sentence is written there. On a very big board, big board, only one sentence is written there. Is your gift appreciated? A very big billboard is like, it's only one sentence is there. Is your gift appreciated? And it is in the front of a very big supermarket. So I asked one devotee, what is the meaning of that? So what is the meaning of this? See this sentence, what does it mean? They were talking different things. So some say, this is nonsense. This is nonsense. I said, no, this is not nonsense. This is not nonsense. The person who placed this billboard here with this sentence has placed a very powerful advert. What is it? Your gift appreciated. What is it? How is that a powerful advert? They are telling the customer, they are telling all those of us who are seeing that, they're telling us that if you buy a good in this store, it will be appreciated by whomever you give it to. So if you want to please, so if you have somebody very, very dear to you and you want to give that person very high quality thing, come to our shop, come and buy it from our shop. Anything from our shop will be highly appreciated by whomever you give to. Oh, I see. No. This is a very powerful advert. So it is material, but we can purify it. We can purify it. Let me give a gift to my spiritual master that will be very happy to give it to his spiritual master. That should be our life. That is charity. That is sacrifice. And this is a sacrifice for all devotees. It's a sacrifice for all devotees. What am I offering to my spiritual master? Because all our services in Krishna consciousness, all the services we render in Krishna consciousness, it's a service. It's an offering. It's an offering. So what kind of offering are we offering? So is our gift appreciated? Our offering is our sacrifice, our charity appreciated? Means we should look at the quality of what we are giving. That's what it means. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Srila Gurudev. Thank you.
All right. So yeah, your services are devotional. The moment we have the desire to please a person, it's devotional. If it's based on love, it's devotional. Krishna said, the sham. If one who renders service, one who renders service, one who renders the service to me, act of love. The service is just act of love. That's the qualification. If the service is act of love, Krishna will accept that. And that is how our success will come. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Gurudev, we are having 3 questions. Can we take them?
3.
Yes, 3 questions.
Right? Okay.
So 2 questions are from Venkateshwar Prabhuji. His first question is, thank you for your association. How to joyfully perform austerity? What to do when mind gets disturbed by austerity?
The mind will be disturbed. The mind will be very disturbed. Just look at ourselves. Look at ourselves. If we are told to do something that we don't like, what will you do? When you are told to do something you don't like, how will you feel? You will not do it joyfully. You will react to it. But when we are told that you may not like it for now because of our conditioning, but actually, if we do this, we are going to get purified and become a pure lover of Krishna eventually. Then we will have interest. In the same way, if you want to be successful in austerity, first of all, you should understand, why am I doing it? You should understand that. Why am I doing this? Is it because I want to make a show? Or is it because I want to get some mystic powers that can control everybody? To expand my false ego? Why am I doing this? Am I doing this to purify myself because I feel I'm a conditioned soul, I need to purify myself? Is that the reason why I'm doing this? So I can become a better devotee, I can render a better service to Krishna, to Guru? If that is the motivation, then it is good to austerity. Then you can convince the mind that actually this is necessary for purification. You have to convince the mind this is necessary. So we must know the purpose for which we do anything or everything. We must know the purpose. We must know the goal. What is behind what we want to do? What is in the mind? What are we trying to do? Because if we don't do this, austerity will either make one proud or it will make you humble. It will make us humble if we are making advancement. And we'll make advancement if our purpose is genuine. But if it is for pride, if it is not genuine, we're not going to get purified, and the result will be that we become very proud and become offensive to other people. See how this like eating, see them, like eating. You're not like me. Don't you see me? All of you are fools. That is false ego. We are becoming offensive to other people because we don't know the real goal, the real purpose of having that. Which is wrong. So first of all, we must know what we are doing this for. if we know that Krishna Bhoga Tyaga Krishna Pritya, we're giving up sense gratification, we're giving up Bhoga to what? To please Krishna. Bhoga Tyaga Krishna Pritya. Want to please Krishna by this activity. If that is the goal, we should do it, we should convince the mind, and eventually the mind will follow. Because the mind will follow anything which you offer to. So we should hear the importance, we should see the result from others who have done that. We mentioned Bhakti Dhira Swami and many other people who did austerity. Of course, they don't need it. They don't need the 𝐶𝐸𝐴𝐵 Goswami. They did it. They don't need it, but they did it just to show us importance and to let us know that it is necessary for us who want to make it necessary. Austerity is compulsory, it is necessary. For developers want to realize Brahman, want to realize Brahman, want to realize Bhagwan. He said austerity is necessary for that. But the most bona fide austerity, Prabhupada said, Tapo Divyam, transcendental austerity, Prabhupada said was Satya Suddhe. This is Satya Suddhe. The heart will become purified. In the lecture, Prabhupada gave, why the heart? She has to be purified because the heart is very, very dirty. It needs to be purified. Therefore, austerity is necessary for that. It must be bona fide austerity. Not austerity to torture the body, not austerity to become proud, not austerity to develop it like Hirakasiku. It is a very severe type of austerity. What was the purpose? To disturb devotees. That is not austerity. That is condemned. It will not benefit anybody. So that kind of austerity to torture the soul, to torture the Paramatma, the soul, and the body is condemned. But for purification, it is required. That we have to understand the purpose. Then we can do it nicely. Next.
In continuation to the previous question, Venkatesh Prabhuji is asking, what if the body gets disturbed by austerity?
If your body gets disturbed, means your mind has not accepted it, so you should not continue. The mind is weak. We have to strengthen the mind first. You have to strengthen the mind first. So if your body is disturbed, means that the mind is not strengthened. So the mind is very weak. Therefore, if you not do it, it will affect you, affect your health. All right, last question.
Yes, last question is by Ram Prakash Prabhuji. He's asking, Hare Krishna Maharaj, you mentioned taking prasadam on festival day is regarded as sense gratification. Are there any occasion where honoring prasadam may be considered as sense gratification?
Festival food, I said festival food. Festival food means what? The food which is cooking by non-devotees, like festival food. It's not that we should not eat on festival. We should eat on festival, but it's not different. It's not from cooks who are not devotees. You can see, because whatever we eat, it is what we will be. Whatever we eat is what we will be. If we are eating just anything and everything, it will have effect in our consciousness. That is sure. That is sure. So if we are eating just to eat, there are some people that even though they are eating, they are so envious that the moment they see someone eating, they want to eat. That is saying education. I've seen many people like that. They're very, very envious. It will manifest. If you are eating less, austerity, that is wonderful. That is wonderful. If it's austerity, it's an offering to faith, it's wonderful. If we are doing it nicely, happily, joyfully, but the body is disturbed, the health is affected, it's because of the austerity. If you are doing it nicely with good mind and you are happily doing it and you know the purpose, happily, the body will not be disturbed. If the body is disturbed, it means that it is not the austerity, it is something else. So check that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, every devotee, for joining us. We are very grateful to everyone. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Very pleased.
Bhakti Dhira Damodara Maharaj ki.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Jai.
Universities ki.
Jai.
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 Jai.